So this is episode 4. Nearly said 3 then, of my series Scrolling. Scrolling is a series where I essentially just pick an article, video, some kind of topic matter, I make some notes on it, and then I scroll through it and talk about it. The point of the series is slightly selfish in that it's for me to learn how to articulate myself better whilst learning things, and maybe in some way providing some kind of value to you guys. So the things that I'm learning, you might learn as well. There might be some new things here for everybody. So without further ado, I'm just going to get stuck into this episode. On this episode, I decided, on this episode of Scrolling, I decided to cover this article that I found, the biggest tech innovations of 2022, on Popular Science, popsci.com. That's the website, but it's Popular Science. I think it's a magazine or something. And halfway through doing this piece, I realised that I thought I'd finished, gone through them all and picked some to talk about. I thought I'd gone through most of the list, and I'd gone through like maybe 15, 20 of them. So it's possible that this will be a part 1 of a multiple part series, but I'm quite prone in my creation to be promised things and then not deliver them. That's not a good thing to tell your audience, is it? So in the past I've gone like, this is part 1, and then part 2 never comes, part 3 never comes, but we'll see. Because I've got to do a couple more videos before the end of the year. So in part 1 of biggest tech innovations of 2022 on Scrolling, I picked out a few of the coolest things, I thought anyway. Some of these are from right at the beginning of the year, but you know, it's a year summary, this article that they've created, and they still stand. I mean, let's start off with the first one, which I think is the most amazing one. I don't think, well, apart from AI, I'm not going to talk about AI on this. I'm sure GPT-3 was on the list. I'm sure OpenAI's GPT chat, or whatever it's called, Chat GPT, can't remember. That's probably on here. DALL-E's probably on here, etc., etc. But talk about that enough. So the first one is I'm not sure how their article worked, but it says Innovation of the Year, the James Webb Telescope by NASA. A game-changing new instrument to see the cosmos. And obviously, this was right at the beginning of the year, as you can see here, launched Xmas 2021, but it's being included in 2022. Maybe, I can't really remember, but the first images came in 2022 or what, but they're including it in 2022. And yeah, this was amazing. This was absolutely amazing, and it's easy to forget that this happened this year. I mean, it's just I so much has happened this year that I'd completely forgotten about this. And when it happened, these images came out, and the first thing I thought was, I want to print them and frame them because they're so cool, especially the middle one here. But let's rewind because I'm talking a bit fast. On a side note, I was gonna eat something before I started today because I'm a little bit hungry, but I decided not to because I didn't want to have like sloppy chops, because you can get sloppy chops when you eat or you drink something beforehand, where I guess you get some phlegm on your lung. I've just devised this new this new kind of condition of filming. No, what I'm thinking about more so than the phlegm that you can get after eating, which is disgusting, is when you talk into a microphone and you kind of go, and it's really irritating hearing someone do that unless you're into what the hell is it called? ASMR. VSMR. Anyway, return, Jack. Return from whence you came. The James Webb Telescope, right? So these, I'm gonna ignore some of this. So positioning wise, it's in orbit, but it doesn't orbit the Earth. It orbits the Sun, and it stays in line with the Earth, so that it has a bit of a sun shield, so the Sun isn't affecting the pictures that it takes. It's capable of peering back 13 billion years at ancient galaxies. And when I read this, I did a little sort of thought process where I was thinking, oh, so surely you can look back in time. So if you could travel far enough to be in, say, that area of space, you would be able to look back at what the Earth was, or what before the Earth was 13 billion years ago. But then I realised you probably have to travel backwards in time also to do that. Like, you can't just, it wouldn't be that simple. But yeah, that was interesting to me for as long as it made sense. Because of the 13 billion year viewpoint, it means that we can figure out how the stars and galaxies were initially formed. And that also means that we can learn more about our planet from those stars and galaxies through context or whatever. And that's great, because the more we can learn about our planet, our solar system, our galaxy, the more we can figure out, whether there could be life elsewhere, but also whether we might be able to travel in space in the coming centuries or thousands of years or whatever it's going to be. But it was amazing. I mean, just for the pictures. Interesting point that I watched as a side note was that, I mean, this is obvious probably to most people, but to me it wasn't necessarily. These are not what you would see if you were in space, if you were in these areas. This is infrared light. The James Webb telescope can see. So I think it's heat, right? Yeah, you wouldn't see these, but they're amazing nevertheless. They exist. Just because you can't see heat doesn't mean that heat as a visual thing does not exist. So this first image is called Webb's first deep field. And so I think this might have been the very first one that was, I don't know, that's probably wrong. But I believe this was like the first one I saw. And it's the deepest and sharpest infrared image of the distant universe to date. Yeah, it's overflowing with detail. There are thousands of galaxies in that picture. I mean, for the other ones I downloaded really high quality images. For this one, I don't seem to have. But yeah, thousands and thousands of galaxies. Like, not planets, galaxies. And that's just, I mean, that was 13 billion years ago as well, so God knows what there is now. And God knows if there were any life forms on these planets, where they would be right now. Maybe it's extinct, maybe they learned how to travel in space, so they survived. Maybe their planet was not volatile at all, and they could live there for very, very long periods of time. But anyway, this is my favourite. This is beautiful. So, I had to do some research. This one's called the Cosmic Cliffs in the Carina Nebula. And then you've got the Southern Ring Nebula here. And so I had to look up what a nebula was, because I'm not an astronaut, and I don't remember anything from physics in school. So what is a nebula? A nebula is a giant cloud of dust and gas. And what is really cool is that it's often caused by a dying star or a young star. And the ones that are sort of around young stars can be called star nurseries, which is cute. That's cute. So here's the cool bit. This, right, the Cosmic Cliffs, the region is actually the edge of a gigantic gaseous cavity within NGC 3324. That makes you realise there's a lot of shit out there. Jack's expertise on space. There's a lot of shit out there. Roughly 7. That's not interesting, right? We don't need too many numbers. You know what? I'm not really going deep on that because I can't dive too deep. It's a bit silly. You go to the website if you want deepness. If you want detail, and for me, you come for the roughly edged opinion. This is from a young star, is what I'm getting at. This here, the Cosmic Cliffs in the Carina Nebula. And then the Southern Ring Nebula is from a dimming star. So the dimming star at the centre of this, the Southern Ring Nebula, has been sending out rings of gas and dust for thousands of years in all directions. So this one here is popping its clogs. And this one's just being born, and both are putting on beautiful displays for us with heat. And what, like, seriously, look at this image, right? Look at that. How beautiful is that? No worms. That's made me look like I have an abusive relationship with myself. I just have an abusive relationship with the guy who says all the time because it's friggin' annoying. What I should point out on a meta scale is, for some reason, the way that I did this Fig Jam, because I'm doing this on Figma, on the last one I must have zoomed in a lot. On this one I didn't do so the scaling is all off. So if I just scroll down here quickly to give you a look, the video inserts are tiny. Like this should, ideally I'd want it, it's obviously a fixed size on FigJam, I'd want it to fill the page. So what should have happened is I should have been zoomed like right in like this deep before I started working and got my dots a bit bigger. It would have made it easier to write. The writing's a bit scruffy because of that, but we can work around it. Yeah, so that's the James Webb Space Telescope. Wasn't much more of the sentence to get through there, Jack, when you struggled. It is fascinating. It's just fascinating, and I'm still going to get this image, and I'm gonna print it in the highest quality that I can afford, and I'm gonna frame it because it's beautiful. Just the possibility, the fact that exists, the fact that it exists so far from us, the fact that most people have no idea that that's even out there. Yeah, it is mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing, and that's why I've brought it back to life a year from whence. Put the bloody whence away. A year from when these pictures were first taken. Innovation number 2, the P12 Shuttle by Candela, a speedy electric hydrofoil ferry. Now, when the first Candela P12 electric hydrofoil goes into service next year in Stockholm, Sweden, it will take commuters from the suburbs to downtown in about 25 minutes. So they're cutting 30 minutes off what it takes on a diesel ferry. And these boats are really cool. So they use what's called foiling, which is where they have this thing underneath the water, and I think the idea is it drives pressure up, and that's what makes the boat lift off the water. But I think the speed is one thing that is amazing about this, but it also, as I've highlighted here, produces almost no wake. And I think, why didn't I Google this? I should have Googled this, but I believe that is an important thing in aquatic transport, because wake probably means you're affecting the wildlife around you, and I'm sure there are regulations, especially somewhere like Sweden, where the more wake you have, I guess there's a limit. The more wake you have, what? No, there's a limit on how much wake you can cause, and therefore, yeah, here we go. Read the piece, Jack, that you saved. It is allowed to exceed the speed restrictions placed on other watercraft, because of the limited wake. Goes 30 miles per hour. I can run about 35 miles per hour, and that, according to Candela, makes it the world's fastest aquatic electric vessel. Obviously, the more qualifications you put on that, the easier it is to be the fastest. You could say the world's fastest aquatic electric foiling vessel in Sweden, and you're gonna have it for sure. But they think it's this as well. They also make these smaller boats, so I can zoom right in on these because these are actually, and I think, I mean, these will probably be bought privately by people. And I read somewhere that one of them was a sports boat, but I didn't really find that confirmed. But they're cool, man. They're really cool. And this foiling thing is cool. I'm not sure when this, I know that people do foiling when they surf, and you go a lot faster, and I think it's a bit more dangerous, but it's really cool. Like, apply that to boats, and then, I mean, it might have been around for a while, but it's new to me, so it's innovative in my eyes. I think that's dope. And also, yeah, underappreciated point, it's cool, isn't it? Look at that. That is a cool picture. Like, you'd want to ride around on that. And I have here, this first tiny video insert is actually, let's get it big.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Future Peak. California-based startup Boundary Layer Technologies has introduced an electric hydrofoil ferry concept that promises twice the rate as well as series of existing
So
electric
this is like a prototype video, I think, because it's not real, is it?
called Electra. The watercraft
That looks
cruises at a speed
futuristic.
of 40 knots and has a range of as much as 100 maritime miles thanks to a podded propulsion system at
Quite
the
high
back
up and
two
off the
lifting
water
coils
as
that
well.
minimize drag in the water. The batteries that power Electra have a capability of 9,000 kilos.
So that's what it looks like on the inside. I'm not the lifting hydrofoil and the control hydrofoil. This is really cool technology. I'd love to learn more about this. It's got a lot of people that they can put on it.
Kilowatt-hour innovations compared to conventional, not just far better on the pocket as well. To fossil fuel shedding, rapid ferry options. Boundary layer technologies has
Yeah, you get it. The video is a bit annoying because of the guy's voice. No offense, guy. It sounds a bit like an AI generated voice, that, which I haven't heard. The whole text to AI audio, if you will, like when you're trying to create something, turn an article into a podcast, or not a podcast, but into an audio article for people to listen to. I haven't seen a great. Okay, that really confused me. I haven't seen a great example of that sounding good. Essentially, I've not heard AI generated voice. What do you call it when you bloody not transcribe it? It's the opposite of transcribe, but yeah, text to audio. I haven't seen a listenable one because it's just kind of janky. Like, it's a bit blocky when you hear this weird combination of, I guess, the AI voice. It's jamming words together rather than already understanding the sentence and knowing how it flows. I don't know. It's not like I talk particularly well either. I've had an absolute nightmare there. My computer ran out of space, so I had to exit all the programs and clean my hard drive and get rid of a load of shit. But whatever, we're back in. The next innovation is adaptive accessories by Microsoft, where they have essentially designed these products, accessories, to make computers more accessible to people who have different abilities. So you've got some images of them there, and what's cool, right? So let's see. The mouse, which is, I think this is the little. Don't have my cursor on, do I? So that's really annoying. I should have my cursor on. I'm not going to change it now, but the mouse is up near the top right. You've got that little square thing. That is the mouse in its sort of most basic form, and then you can add things onto it to make it to fit you in the way which you need it to fit you. What's extra cool is that you can 3D print things to attach to it, and I'm sure they give you some kind of documents so that you can figure out how you might do that, what the clip needs to be or something. I've never used a 3D printer, and I don't think they're that expensive, and I'm not really sure how far the usefulness of them goes, because I know they became a thing, but you don't hear that much about them anymore. But this is a cool use of them. It's very, very customizable. It means that, because people in general are very different, right? So even the way that you and someone who is genetically related to you use things is extremely different. And then you add in the differing nature of a disability that someone might have. Just because someone has, I don't know specific disabilities of people that would use these. It could be, someone who doesn't have a hand, for example. Just because two people have lost the same hand, i.e. their right hand, that doesn't mean that the movement of their arm is the same. Someone might have lost slightly more tendon or have a slightly different shape to their arm. That just means that they can't quite use it the same way as another person. So yeah, the fact that you can customize it to yourself is brilliant, really. And it's cool that Microsoft are making something here where I'm pretty sure that profit isn't the main goal of this endeavor. It's really helpful for people who in the past would have probably had to just make up their own ways. Like you've seen in the past someone writing a book with a pen from their mouth. Like there's a guy that's in an iron lung, and I think he wrote an entire book. He was either holding something and tapping on a keyboard, or he was writing with his mouth. But regardless, crazy feat, but it could be so much easier for him. It's funny, you could ask the question, would he still have done that if he didn't have to if he didn't have to do it with that great difficulty? I mean, let's say he's still in the iron lung, but it was a lot easier for him to write the book. Like, a lot easier. I don't know how that would be, but maybe something that is a little bit more articulate than, say, a pen in your mouth. Did the adversity, not just of the iron lung, but of having to do it like that, make him more driven to do it? And had that adversity not been there, would he not have done it at all? I don't know. Interesting question. And I'm not going to be the one that gives you a definitive answer on that. Yeah, the customizability is my favourite thing about that. Actually, let me show you something cool. It's not that cool because you'll have seen these all over the place by now, but these are little avatars that I used, that I made from Lensa app. But that is actually another aspect of this fig jam that shows how much I screwed up the sizing, because you should be able to see them. The fact that they're just there and you can't see them, it's cool that there's little details, but it would have been cooler if you could see them a little bit, because I made a few different types of stickers. That's a default sticker, the purple thing. Man, I really need to, on the next one, put the mouse as visible so you can see what I'm pointing at, because it kind of makes it a little bit harder, and I'm sure I've already pointed at stuff, not realising that you could not see it as I was doing so, and that's kind of silly. But I'm here to make mistakes and then rectify my mistakes, and that's how I'll improve. So I'm not going to be hard on myself. I've got a video. I've got two videos here. So this little one, this isn't necessarily relevant because this isn't the thing itself.
So we're here to talk about the Surface Adaptive Kit.
It's been quite a journey for the team.
And not just the internal teams, but our partners and occupational therapists who we've worked
with their independent
solutions who's blown it up.
Open up my laptop. Even the pack and box, so I'm able to open all the cards. Here you go, Chris.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, you can apply these stickers to your keyboard. It's raised so you can feel it, but also it's high contrast.
And the different shapes makes them very distinguishable from one another.
Yeah, taking you down to the key onto the device, and it just fits seamlessly into the device. And then,
so these are, I believe, for general accessibility of. So it's for a laptop. It's for a laptop, and as you could see with the charger thing there, it was just to show them where the charger port was for someone who perhaps doesn't have great vision and the vision isn't working properly. But yeah, I found this when I was looking for videos of the adaptive kit, and it was really cool. To be fair, it's just a small set, but little things make things just a bit easier for people who can't use tech the same way that a fully able-bodied person can. I think that's cool. But then I actually found, let me get off this, and I also have to have the placement right on this next time. I also found this video, which is the actual kit. So there you can see
Abilities Summit today.
There you can see the thing clipping onto the mouse to customize it for someone. I wonder how people do reaction videos with audio. I don't really know how to do that. When I edit this at the end, I might realize that the sound is clashing because I'm talking over it. Do they just do it silently? No, they don't. They pause it and then they speak. Maybe. I suppose you could do it one of two ways.
Microsoft unveiled a new adaptive, and you're supposed to
There's
be able
the
to
mouse.
use it with your palm laying flat. With very little effort at all, you'll be able to push this.
So it makes it easier because you're just using your fingers, but that probably doesn't work for everyone. But it'll work for some people who perhaps don't have full range of arm movement, just fingers. I don't know what disability would put you in that position. Maybe, yeah, because if your arm was paralysed, then your fingers would be too. But I suppose people use different digits.
Want to have a very good work setup where your arm is slightly lifted. This mouse could be so great for that because you don't need to use a lot of with keep.
The lady there was essentially also pointing to a way in which it could be useful just generally in the sense that if you are sitting in an uncomfortable position, and I think when you use a computer, you're supposed to have your arm in a certain position for typing well as well. You're supposed to have your arms in certain positions, but offices and workplaces don't support that at all. So that's cool.
Keyboard, mouse, or a button with which to then control your device. The hub itself has 5 3.5mm audio jacks for switch device input, and it's also got some USB connectors. On its top surface, there is a Bluetooth button.
I think, yeah, that's the hub. So yeah, it looks like you can connect multiple devices to it. But so this is cool. This is like a joystick thing. Where's the original thing that it had? I can't remember which one the original one is, but you have all these bits that you can add to it for your preference. So people, again, with differing abilities can use it in a different way. And then, there we go, you can 3D print stuff to add to that fits you perfectly. And that is innovative, isn't it? Giving the customer the ability to personalize something, not just through preference, like taste preference or whatever, but actually for ability preference. You get my point. Let's get off it. So that is really cool. Again, I think that was quite a while ago, and I also didn't know that Microsoft with Xbox created like a control for the Xbox that made it easier for people who don't have full use of their entire body to use, and that's dope. The next one, just a little one here, but a cool one nevertheless. There's this car crash detection by Apple, where smart sensors are in the watch and it's in the newest iPhone as well, and it can detect whether you've been in an accident, a car crash. And it's just crazy stuff. It's hard enough to understand how a camera works as a layperson, and then you've got this watch now that can measure up to 256 G's of force and check for changes 3,000 times per second. I mean, how? I don't think I'll ever be in a position to answer that question, even just to learn it myself. It'd take me a lot of focusing on the same topic. Running it, what I should be doing. I know I'm being very, very sort of meta with this, there we go, that's the word I'm looking for. While I'm talking through the different ways that I should be running this project a bit better, but I should be looking at, I'm recording the screen on OBS, and I should be looking at, let me just correct my hair, I should be looking at the OBS screen and reading it from there, so that I am actually seeing what you're seeing. Because if I'm looking at this screen, I can't tell, and that's not the right way to do it, as far as I'm concerned. So if you're in a crash, the change in the car's cabin pressure, which is caused by an airbag, will trigger the watch to send emergency services to your location if you don't respond. I think my brother was telling me today, and I don't think he has the newest watch, so I don't know when this came out. Again, is it actually 2022? Whatever. Yeah, they had to make a list of 100, so they might have played with the years a bit. He was saying that he plays football, and when he's in goal, sometimes he'll save a really hard shot, and his watch will go to ring the emergency services or an ambulance, which is a bit crazy. And then he has to say, "Yeah, don't. I've not been in a crash. Someone just whammed the ball at me." This is cool. It is innovative. I could have gone through and asked the question: is that actually innovative or not? But they all are, really. This is innovative, and up down here, the information Apple collects, never shared, The information, Apple doesn't collect the information. That's the whole point. The information your phone collects is not shared with Apple or a third party, and that is one of Apple's like biggest strong suits, isn't it? That's one of the things that makes Apple stand out as a company. Though I think it causes them some problems, and it can cause companies that want to work with them some problems and stuff. But you got to stand by your values and your morals, haven't you? This, I don't know if this is relevant. This bit on the side, who pays for the receiving end of this? Because what I was wondering is, like, it says send emergency services your location, but I think it calls them. Because I was wondering who would be paying for the tech on the other side if it's sending a location. But I think it just calls them, because the government wouldn't. They're not going to put any money towards that, are they? Because some might. In Singapore, they might be working with tech like that, but in the UK, don't think so. Okay, so last one here. Phone 1 by nothing. Light-based notifications help kick the screen habit. So, did I put a video for Apple? No, I don't need one. You get the picture with that. Some of you have probably experienced it as well. Phone 1 by nothing. Light-based notifications help kick the screen habit. The point of this is that you get your notifications on the back of your phone here. This thing, in fact, I've got a clearer image. These are called glyphs, and they send you notifications based on what it is and who it's from, so you can personalize it. So certain person calls you and this bit lights up, and it lights up 5 times and it's green or whatever, or it's a WhatsApp notification, this bit does a ring around, and there you go. The idea is you don't need to keep checking your phone for notifications. And it says help on that bit, help kick the screen habit. And my question was, is it a screen habit or is it a notification habit? Because it's not just about the screen, is it? I mean, the screen probably does lend a hand to being addicted to checking your phone, but you check the lights, no? I think, surely. Maybe I'm being naive there, and the other thing is, I think I saw a review, one of the tech reviewers saying like they used it for a bit and they didn't actually use the lights. And then what's the point? I think the only thing I will say, that's the innovative part, the lights. The only thing I will say is that it's a really nice looking phone, and the tech reviewers seem to also be saying that it's a good phone for the price. I think it was coming at like £350, and it's nice looking and it was performing well. So they actually seem to do a really good job of marketing as well. I've seen multiple Linus, whatever his name is, Linus Tech Tips, Marcus Brownlee, someone else reviewing it positively. I think they all review honestly, right? Linus seems like a cool guy. I don't know about, it's not Marcus, it's like Marquez. I don't know about him, but I think he's alright. He's very popular. Have I written anything else here that's worthy of sharing? Not really. That's a charging pad, that circular bit, by the way. Let's see the lights. That'll be fun. Here's a tiny bloody video insert again. Let's see the lights. And can you see?
Hey, what's up? MKBHD here. And
Good,
yes,
this there we go. This is the man
nothing
himself.
The first phone from the startup that gave us the Nothing Ear 1 earbuds in 2021. A big step into establishing their own ecosystem that they're building, and it looks familiar, but also very different. So we live in an age right now where...
That's the thing, isn't it, with design and innovation, that people probably aren't too... Fuck the lights up there, don't they? People or companies probably aren't too keen to go too crazy with their innovations, so they probably want to try and keep it small in case it fails financially and they put too much money into it, but also because I guess the global population, or the tech buying population, phone buying population, change is good, but people don't like a lot of change, and you're only going to get the very daring people, the tastemakers, if you will, or I think what they call them, like the mavens or something, the mavericks, are going to try new phones like this. New phones if they're really out of the box. Whereas this is the same size, and it's not that far different, as your man Marquez seems to be saying. Right, where's the lights, man? Okay, here we
in the
go.
corner, and then
Some
down by
lights.
the charging port at the bottom. And they do a great job frosting over them. So the glow really cleanly appears as just a solid.
Yeah, that's not the full bit of glyph
Plug
interface.
into USB-C to
That's
charge.
cool. The charging bit at the back, it kind of goes up with the light. It's new. It's different, isn't it? And some people will buy it just for that
but
purpose.
for some sort of close-up subjects or in darker rooms, this can actually make a difference versus the normal flash. That's only some lights on the back of a phone. Sub actually make it. There is when you're recording the settings.
I want to find a
tone, and so then you can pair ringtones with certain contacts. So when you see a certain light pattern,
I mean,
even when
look,
the phone is-
I've kind of said that it's not necessarily going to be that usable, but that's really cool, isn't it? The way that that's working. I think that's really cool. I didn't even have the full video on the screen. What a dope, man! I am being a dope today. There's a little AI image that I generated at one point. Yeah, I need to work on some bits here with the display and how I set it up, because that's not really. You need to have the video on the screen for you to see it whilst I'm watching it and talking about it. Else, what am I doing? But oh well, it's only the fourth or third video, and we're cool with a few mistakes here and there. It's just a bit annoying to make mistakes and not realise them until the end, but we can get over it. So that is scrolling 4, and a little bit up and down with the quality and the smoothness of it, but hey ho, we have made it to the end. And will I do another one of these innovation things? I might do. I really am, as you can tell by the little mistakes here. I'm at the beginning of this, and I am very much figuring out what works and what doesn't. And it might be that I don't even do it in this particular way. It might be that I don't use FigJam eventually. It might be that they turn into 5-minute videos rather than what we've got right now, which is like a 30-40 minute video. I'm not sure what this one is. So 20 plus the bit before the computer, so it's probably at 30. So it could be completely different. I'm enjoying doing it though. I'm enjoying creating, and I can only get better as long as I keep doing it and iterating, and that's good for everyone involved. So far, everyone involved is just me, and I think maybe my friend who watches it, because he's a nice guy. Anyway, I will finish up there. Have a good day. Have a good lunch. Have a good dinner. Have a nice evening. Enjoy Christmas. I'll see you before then. But it's been good. It's been great. It's been fantastic. It's been nice. See you later.